What's going on, everyone? I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the PS4 Pro and the Slim and just the whole PlayStation meeting that went down on Wednesday. We did a podcast on it, by the way. I was part of the Press Play podcast, so shout out to all the people on there. It was a really good podcast, so if you guys want to check it out after this video, I'll put it in the description so you guys can go listen. It's really good. But yeah, we went on there. We were talking about the meeting and everything that was happening, all the speculations and rumors and confirmations that we had at the time. And by that point, we kind of understood what we were getting. But after the meeting, the consensus seemed to be that, a lot of people were confused. There were a lot more questions than answers. And I think that's just because Sony was just so vague about stuff. They would say, hey, the Pro is going to have more power, but they didn't necessarily say the specs. They didn't even talk about the teraflops, which I guess is understandable because it's 4.2 in the Pro, and I think the Scorpio is going to be 6, so it probably wouldn't have looked so great if they did actually say it. So they avoid that stuff, I'm sure, and it was on purpose. But they were kind of cryptic about things at times, and it just seemed like they were more focused on explaining what 4K can do and what HDR can do to the gaming experience. It was more about teaching us about that stuff, and it was like a lesson. I had class that day too, and I felt like, am I in another class right now? I'm getting a lesson on HDR, which was fine. It was just kind of a weird tone to the meeting, and it was very calm. It was very just anticlimactic, I guess, is the best way to say it. There wasn't really this big bang of information or just crazy bombs that were being dropped. It's yeah, the Pro, it's going to make games look better, hopefully run better, and all of that. They're promising that, but at the same time, I felt like there wasn't this huge bomb that was undeniable and I had to get this thing, because I went into the meeting thinking already that I'm not buying these systems. Same thing with the Xbox One S. I already know I'm not buying that, and I just was set on that. Now after this meeting, I'm even more set because I have confirmation that this is all it really is. Yes, the games will look better and the frames will get improved and all of that, but it's not really worth my time and money and energy to go ahead and sell the stuff I got to jump into these systems. I just feel like it's not really time. I don't have the TVs for it. I don't have a TV that's 4K or can run HDR and all of that. I just don't. And in a couple years I might, I'm sure I'll make the leap at some point. But all these games that are talking about utilizing these systems, most of them aren't even out yet. They talked a lot about Days Gone. They talked about Spider-Man. Rise of the Tomb Raider is one that's coming out soon, but I've already played it. And they do talk about games, that are already out, like Bloodborne, for example. I think people have talked about those frame rates getting better, but I've already played the game, so I'm not really pushed to get this thing. I feel like I'm actually relieved that I feel this way because, like I said, I went into that meeting thinking I'm not buying these systems. I'm curious. I want to see what's up with them, and I'm excited for other people, but for me personally, I just knew I wasn't going to buy them. So I'm relieved in a sense that this is all it really is. And let's just go ahead and talk about these price points real quick before I forget. So the Pro, which was formerly known as the Neo, is going to be $399. This is essentially just a more powerful PS4, okay? And then you have the Slim, which is just a basic PS4. It's just smaller and uglier, if I'm being honest. It is horrendous looking, in my opinion. That's going to be $299. Which is pretty cheap. I honestly thought it was going to be cheaper. I was kind of surprised at first, but then I realized that Sony doesn't need to make it cheaper. They're in the lead right now. They're calling the shots, and until that changes, they're not in a hurry to make these things even cheaper. They just don't have to. So yeah, the Slim $299 and then the Pro $399. So if you don't have a PS4 yet, this is perfect for you. You have a great situation here. If you want to spend a little bit more to get better graphics and all of that, you can do that. And if you have a 4K TV and you're ready for, 4K and HDR and all of that, I mean, the answer is clear for you. If you don't care about that stuff, you have the Slim, $299. I mean, that's pretty cheap. And you have all these games in the library just waiting for you. So for people who don't have a PS4 yet, this is all well and good for them, and it's exciting for them. But for us who already have a PS4, for like myself, for example, my PS4 is running great. Besides it ejecting games from time to time, it still has that issue. I made a video about that a long time ago if you guys want to check that out. But it still does it from time to time, unfortunately. But besides that, it runs good, it looks good, my controller's still good and everything. I can't get rid of this thing. I like how it looks, I like how it plays. I'm happy with the graphics it has. I mean, when I think about games like Bloodborne and Uncharted 4, I mean, those games look awesome. They still look really good. When they were showing the comparison video of Uncharted 4 on the OG PS4, and then they had it on the Pro, they had a side-by-side comparison. I thought both looked good, and I know it doesn't really translate well through streams and on YouTube. Of course, it's not going to do it any justice. I'd have to see it in front of me on an actual 4K TV. But I already know, man, that game looks good already. And so it's real hard for me to really find a reason like, man, I have to get this right now. In a couple years, I think it could happen when these other games start to come out, like God of War, maybe a Last of Us 2 will get announced. The Days Gone game, the Spider-Man game. There's games that are going to come out that are going to, use this power advantage, and I'm sure it's going to look really, really good. And by that point, I'll probably want a 4K TV. I mean, just because, just to see anything in 4K, that could be the standard already. But right now, I'm just not there yet. So until I see these games actually, before my eyes, and I just can't help it, I have to get it, then, I'm just going to be cool with where I'm at. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with what I got. I also have my PC as well. So I'm all for everybody just making their own PC too. If you think, man, all of this sucks, I'm just going to make a PC. Hey, go for it. It's all good. I feel like there's so many options right now for people, and that's always a good thing. My only complaint right now really is that it's all about this hardware right now. And I know this meeting just happened, and I know Scorpio's coming next year, but really when it comes to this hardware talk, it's really not going anywhere. I just feel like this generation, this is what it's about, these console wars and all of that, but we're kind of forgetting about the games. And, we're hearing about these games coming in the future that's going to utilize the power, which is awesome. I'm all for that. But until then, we got games coming out now. We got ReCore coming, we got Gears. On the PlayStation side of things, there's The Last Guardian, and all of these, multi-plats that are coming out. And I'm more interested in that, so the hardware talk, especially since I'm kind of looking in from the outside, I'm kind of looking in from afar, since I'm not buying these things yet, it's kind of overwhelming at times. I kind of feel like frustrated, like, man, I really wish there was more talk about games. Even from these damn corporations themselves, Xbox, for example, I've been tweeting about these guys. They are not talking about ReCore right now, which is crazy. Like, if they do, it's very minimal. It's like, oh, here's somebody streaming it, or here's the trailer. And that's pretty much it. And I was looking at the Xbox YouTube actually for the past month. I was looking at all their videos and counting how many videos are of what game. And they had 7 videos of Mafia 3. I counted 7, and only 2 of ReCore. And I just thought that's a problem. I feel like, okay, Mafia 3 is not an exclusive, it's a multi-plat. And here they are advertising it more. Same thing with Titanfall. There's a lot of videos about Titanfall. Of course, there's plenty of videos about Gears, which is fine. They're pushing that in our face. But I feel like, man, you have this new game. It's coming out this Tuesday, a new IP, and it's like they're sending it out to die. Like, they're not even talking about it. They're not throwing it in our face like they are with Gears of War. It's like they're not proud of it or something. And I just, that frustrates me. Instead of talking about ReCore, they're over here throwing shots at PlayStation. You got them tweeting, they're checking off things like, oh, we got the Ultra Blu-ray player, we got this, we got that. They're trying to prove that the Scorpio and even the Slim are going to have features and stuff that the Pro doesn't. And, they're focusing on that. And I'm over here looking at these tweets and I'm thinking, what about ReCore? Like, it's just kind of like this weird thing going on right now. And I know, hardware is the hot topic right now. This PlayStation meeting just happened and all of that. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, man, I really wish we were talking about games. I really wish we were talking about Gears and Recore and just whatever else. And, you know, I'm going to keep holding my part on that. You know, I'm going to keep holding it down over here. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to do it too. It's not everybody who's doing this. And it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. Because like I said, hardware, it is exciting. It's interesting and all of that. But I feel like, you know, we're just forgetting about the games as a whole. Like we're not really focusing on these crazy good games that are coming out. And when we do, we're all complaining about them. That's a whole different subject. You know, there's a lot of negativity out there and stuff, and all of that. And some of it's justified, and some of it's, you know, just fake rage, and some of it's just to be in, you know, the cool kids club and all of that. But, you know, I love this time of year. I love the holiday season when it comes to gaming, because it's all about the games for me, you know. So this hardware talk isn't going anywhere. I know that, and I'm not saying it should. It's just that, you know, it's kind of frustrating seeing these companies, especially like Microsoft, just going off about, you know, hardware when, you know, they got a game coming out on Tuesday and they're hardly even mentioning it. It's just crazy. So I don't know. That's just kind of where I stand right now. I'm just really about these games right now, and I'm just excited for what's to come. This hardware talk, it's interesting, but I'll wait and see. I got to see it before my eyes. I got to see these games come out for it and really just stun me. We're in a time where graphics, I mean, we keep thinking they hit their peak. We keep thinking like, man, how can it get better than this? At least I think that. Like, I'll see games like Uncharted 4 or Bloodborne or just whatever, these games that look really, really good, and I'm thinking, how can it get better than this? But then it does, you know. That's just technology. It gets better. And so the leaps may not be as big anymore, but they still exist. And, you know, when I'm ready, I'll get the 4K TV and all of that. I'm sure me and Kenny will jump in at some point. But right now, we're cool. We're good. I know we're just going to keep with what we have and just enjoy it and get ready for these games. So let me know what you guys think about all these, you know, announcements and, you know, the PS4 Pro, PS4 Slim, the Xbox One S, Scorpio, all that coming out. I mean, that's the talk of the town right now. So yeah, if you're like me and you're just like thinking, where's the freaking games? And that's all I care about. Let me know that too. You know, I hope I'm not alone. I know I'm not. I know I'm not. But yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.